Hello, my friends, and welcome to another First Chapter Fridays. So we are in a different place than normal for First Chapter Fridays, but we're still going to read the first chapter of Knights vs. Dinosaurs by Matt Phelan. But since this is a dinosaur book, we need our dinosaur hat. So, first chapter of Knights vs. Dinosaurs. It is a fantasy book. Chapter 1. A slight exaggeration. When Sir Eric thought the whole thing over, he supposed he shouldn't have said that he'd slain 40 dragons. 4 might have been more realistic. He also shouldn't have boasted in front of Merlin, the one person in court smart enough to know that fierce dragons were, more or less, a flagon of hooey. Now was not the time for reflection, however. A giant rampaging lizard had just tossed Sir Bors into a tree and was bearing down on poor Sir Hector. Lance time, thought Sir Eric. But perhaps it would be best to start at the beginning. The banquet dragged on and on. Tales had been told, fruit had been juggled, songs had been sung. Oh, so many songs. But the worst of it was sharing time. Each knight who had stumbled back to Camelot over the past few days now stood in front of King Arthur with a report of his adventures. Sir Eric thought it might never end. Lancelot, naturally, had performed the bravest deeds, Galahad the most noble. The rest scrambled for attention with various feats of daring do, most of which were exaggerated, to say the least. The knights all shared a deep secret. With the realm at peace, the knights had spent a good deal of their time off in the field somewhere fighting one another. Not to slay, just for the sheer fun of it. They had armor and weapons, after all. It was a shame not to use them. Dragons, giants, trolls, and mythical beasts were in short supply. All the knights believed in them without question, of course, but the pesky creatures couldn't exactly be counted on to make an appearance. Ever. So the knights embellished. One tale after another of battles with beasties, run-ins with rogue trolls, or fisticuffs with fierce giants. Eric sighed. He was tired. His tunic was slightly scratchy. Whatever the reason, when it was his turn to share, out it came in a loud, clear voice, a whopping big embellishment to shame the rest. "Did you say 40 dragons?" asked Merlin with an air of polite interest. "Yes," declared Sir Eric. The round table exploded with excitement. Knights spouted support or disbelief, or a combination of both. All but the Black Knight. If you needed a tall, dangerously silent type, he was your man. No one had ever heard a peep from the Black Knight. Tonight, as always, he stood in a dark corner in full armor. He stayed rigid, staring at Eric through his visor and helm. Queen Guinevere spoke, instantly silencing the hall. "That is a most amazing accomplishment, Sir Knight. Have you no trophy for your king?" she asked. "Oh dear," thought Eric. He began. "You see, milady, it was quite dark in this cave, and..." "The cave," Merlin interrupted. "Where is this cave?" "Far, pretty far, actually." "Oh," said Merlin, folding his napkin. "It is not the cave I am thinking of. Surely you would have not been so fortunate in that particular cave." It was subtle, but the famous Merlin bait hung in the air. Merlin nibbled a carrot, waiting. "Of what cave do you speak?" demanded Eric. He had no choice, really. This was all part of the act. If a dangerous adventure was dangled in front of you, a knight must respond. Merlin cleared his throat. "Oh, you don't want to know, for in this cave lives the most fearsome creature of all, the terrible lizard." "Lizard, eh?" said Eric. "I shall go and slay this terrible lizard." Sir Bors slammed a fist on the table. "Nay, I shall slay it. Leave brave Sir Eric to rest after such a noble feat of slaying 40 dragons." The fever spread. Knights were a competitive bunch. "I, too, should like to best this heretofore unknown creature," piped Sir Hector, who had an interest in new and exciting beasts. The Black Knight stepped forward. A hush fell over the room. A creaky nod of his helmet announced that he would also join the fun. Sir Eric rose and turned to King Arthur. "My liege, with your permission, I shall face this terrible lizard." Eric looked back at Bors, Hector, and the Black Knight. "With the 3 coming along, I suppose." Arthur poked at a stray pea on his plate. He often tuned out when the knights became overly excited. "As you wish, brave knight. Mind the people, though." "Of course, sire. Only the fearsome brute." "Brutes," corrected Merlin. "There may be a few, come to think of it." "Well, the more the merrier. Great Sir Bors. He was not exactly funny, but he often came up with a witty line at a crucial or dangerous moment. Sir Eric gazed longingly at his mutton, but the deed was done. He had to make a show of it. I am off to prepare. I shall leave at first light. You will have the cave's location at dawn, said Merlin. Bring no horses or squires to the cave. You may, of course, pack a weapon or two. Your choice. He smiled. His gray eyes sparkled. Splendid, said Sir Eric, but it came out less booming than he had hoped. The weekend was off to a poor start. Sir Eric told everyone that he slayed 40 dragons on his last quest. That was an exaggeration. It was also a mistake. Now, instead of having a nice rest at his home in Camelot, Sir Eric is stuck on this wild jungle land with a dangerous adventure with the boorish Sir Bors, bookish Sir Hector, sheepish Squire Mel, and the silent Black Knight, battling the most fearsome and most terrible lizards of all. Actually, maybe this is more fun. Alright, if you are interested, we do have Knight versus Dinosaurs in the fantasy section of the library. See you next week.